Greetings everyone, this is Miss Julie from OWL class. Today I will be sharing with you The Lorax by Dr. Seuss, which is one of my favorite books, and in light of Earth Day being on April 22nd. And I will be using props to tell my story. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was he there? And why was he lifted and taken somewhere? At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, ask the old Onceler. He lives there, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin' on top of his store. He lurks in his lurking, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff, muffler, moof. And on special dark nights in August he peeks, and out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks, and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 50 cents a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail and makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his grudulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper me phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slurp! Down slurps the whisper me phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgly hose, and it sounds as if he has smallish bees up his nose. Now, I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swami swans ran out in space, one morning I came to this glorious place. The first time I saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored troughs of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw the brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruit. From the ripulous pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming, while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. Their tufts were much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great joy of leap in my heart, and I knew just what to do. I unloaded my cart. And in no time at all, I had built a small shop, and I chopped just one truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and great speedy speed, I took the small tuft, and I knitted a fneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazoop. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I had chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't think that I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "achoo! I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongue. And I'm telling you, sir, at the top of my lungs," he was upset and he shouted and puffed, "what is that thing you've made out of my truffle a tuft?" "Look, Lorax, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I am being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed is a fine something that everyone needs. It's a shirt. It's a sock. It's a glove. It's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. It's for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who will buy your fool thneed." But that very minute I proved he was wrong, for just that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great, and he happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor silly guy, you never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Be quiet, if you please." I rushed to the room and in no time at all built a radio phone, and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers, my uncles, my aunts, and I said, "Listen here! Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, and a sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt, just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh, baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker that could chop off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the very next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruit. Now, thanks to you, hacking our trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go round, and my poor barbaloots are all getting crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys!" And he sent them away. I, the Onceler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I mean, no harm. I meant no harm. I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factories, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered my loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth, to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again, he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old Onceler Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," he coughed, and he sneezed, and he snurgled and snarled and sniffed. "Onceler," he called with a credulous cough. "Onceler, you're making such smogulous smoke. My poor swami swans, why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in their throat." "And so," said the Lorax, "please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape the smog you've smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about your gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup and schluppity-schlup. And what do you do with the leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty Onceler man, you. Now, you're glupping the pond where the humming fish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off on their future, and it's dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so schmeary. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap, yap, and say bad, bad, bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs." At that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree when they heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done. So in no time at all, my uncles and aunts and everyone all waved goodbye. They jumped into my cars and they drove away under the smoke-smothered sky. Now all that was left, nether the bad-smelling sky, was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. The Lorax said nothing. He just gave me a glance, a very sad, sad backward glance, and he lifted himself up by the seat of his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of the place through the hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks and the word, unless. Whatever that means, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day I have sat here and worried away. Through the years while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, said the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. So catch, calls the Onceler. He lets something fall. It's the last truffula seed of them all. You're in charge of the last truffula seed. The truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. The end. Thank you for joining me for this story, and I hope to see you all soon. Wishing you happiness and health.